This programming is sponsored by Linscomb Wealth, a wealth management firm partnering with individuals and families dedicated to helping them build, preserve, and manage wealth by creating a customized plan to work toward achieving their goals. More at linscombwealth.com.
This is the Engines of Our Ingenuity, made possible by the Friends of KUHF Houston.
Today, the last vestige of fictional war. The University of Houston's College of Engineering presents this series about the machines that make our civilization run and the people whose ingenuity created them. November 9th, 1918, 2 days before the World War I armistice, the place, a tiny American airstrip near Verdun, some sheds and 3 pilots playing cards. One of those pilots later became governor of Maine, another vice president of Eastman Kodak. Now they hear a sputtering engine. A Fokker D-VII drops out of the low gray clouds and lands. They run out with pistols drawn and capture the German pilot. He is Heinz von Beaulieu-Marconnay, a Huguenot aristocrat. They invite him in for a collegial shot of cognac before they send him off to be processed. It remains unclear why he'd landed there. The Fokker D-VII was eventually boxed up and sent to America. It wound up in the Smithsonian Institution. In the 1970s, the museum restored it to its 1918 condition, including a mysterious marking on its side, the letters U-10 painted 3 feet tall. I was studying in the Smithsonian back in 1972 and was given the task of writing a museum label for the plane. I knew the Fokker D-VII was the best German fighter plane of the war, but what on earth did U-10 stand for? As I looked, the plot thickened. 2 weeks before the armistice, the pilot's brother, a German ace named Oliver von Beaulieu-Marconnay, died of wounds after he was shot down. His plane had carried the equally mysterious letters 4D. And why had Heinz landed? Was he broken by his brother's death, saving himself by surrendering? That was current Smithsonian thinking. I went out looking for the meaning of the insignia and for the circumstances that had brought Heinz's plane to an Allied airstrip on that overcast day late in the war. I located the now aging American interrogator who talked with the pilot just after he'd landed. It turns out they'd become close friends. After the war, he'd been godparent to the flyer's children. As to defection, not a chance. The pilot was lost, his engine was dying, and the Allied planes were in their hangars. After the war, Heinz had become an important figure in the Luftwaffe. He was captured again in World War II, and he died in a Russian concentration camp. I also found the pilot's children. His daughter was living on Long Island. His son did drafting for Messerschmitt. Neither could say what Heinz U-10 or Oliver's 4D stood for. Finally, the daughter wrote to her aunt, who said both boys had joined the cavalry when war broke out. Oliver went to the 4th Dragoons, hence the 4D. Heinz had ridden with the 10th Uhlans. When they had the chance to fly, they took their cavalry insignias with them. And so my quest had taken me into a twilight zone, a last vestige of 19th century views of war, the thin tissue of a chivalrous war, a gentleman's war, a war that never was. Soon after the armistice, my father, also a pilot, flew over the empty trenches of Verdun. He wrote home about terrible destruction far as the eye could see. He saw no chivalry, no shots of cognac down there. This war, like all wars, had really been about killing people. I'd only caught a glimpse of a few decent people trying to make it otherwise. I'm John Lienhardt at the University of Houston, where we're interested in the way inventive minds work.